All right. One of the hardest things I've probably ever learned in life, or what I feel is one of the hardest things I've ever had to learn thus far, is that you cannot change people. As much as you try to wish someone would change, you yourself cannot change another human being. Better yet, you can't make someone want to change, because the impetus for change is always wanting to change. For change to happen, the person or you yourself have to want to change more than you want to stay the same, or more than you want to remain in what is known and what is comfortable. And of course, there have been people in my life that I've wanted to change or thought that I could try to change, but knowing from personal experience and trying to take an empathetic stance on that, I know also how difficult it can be to change when you have an ingrained way of being or way of living. And this can work on any scale. Of course, they're usually like negative things that we want to try to change about ourselves or about others, or at least things that we see as negative, but it's incredibly difficult to go against what is safe and what is known and what is comfortable. There is so much ease in what you already know, the assuredness that you know how it'll end up. There's nothing more terrifying than not knowing how something's going to end up. That uncertainty and the insecurity and the vulnerability that is involved in that is terrifying. At least I think that there's really nothing else more terrifying than that. It all comes from this place of fear and of having to try something where you don't necessarily know the outcome of it. And so when you're asking someone else to do that, of course, we can all speak from our own experience and know that this is incredibly, incredibly difficult to do. And I think it's just been so hard for me to learn this, because we each have such unique struggles. All of our individual people, we struggle with incredibly different things, and something that can be incredibly easy for me can be incredibly difficult for someone else, and vice versa. And so sometimes in my life, when a certain thing has seemed incredibly easy to overcome, almost to the point where it doesn't make sense why someone else would struggle with it, it just seems so incredibly frustrating when you want someone to implement a change in their life that is something that was easy for you to implement. But again, we are all so unique that one person's struggle may be another person's strength. And so we have to always take into account that everyone's fighting their own battle, and everyone has their own demons and their own varied experience of life, and that's going to affect them differently, and we're all going to have different triggers and blocks and vices and negative aspects or things that we're working on. And so we have to try to put ourselves in another situation as much as possible, and not to the point of being nosy or intrusive, but just trying to genuinely see from their perspective and see that they are doing the best that they can at that time with all the information that they have, because that's all that anyone is ever doing. And I guess it can be incredibly humbling to realize that you cannot wish them to change. You can't want it so badly that it's going to spark something inside of them. Maybe you can be a catalyst for change, but the change has to already be brewing inside that person. And I think that the best thing that we can do in these situations that seem extremely difficult, especially when someone in your life is just headed down a dark place, is to just try to be a light. And I know that that sounds very cheesy, but I really like to think of it in the sense that all I can do is try to live my best authentic life and try to live from a place of light and love that shines so brightly that maybe it sheds warmth onto others around me enough that they're willing to step out of the darkness. So again, I know that sounds like kind of a cheesy metaphor, but I think that that's really the best and most tactful thing that we can do in these situations is just do our best to live our most authentic, brave, courageous, unique, uninhibited life, and lead by example and show others that it's okay to own all of ourselves and speak openly about our own struggles, because then others will feel the permission to do so as well. And again, that goes into that authenticity and that lack of inhibition of just sharing all of who you are and living in that and owning all of that, and not trying to act like those parts of us don't exist, because everybody out there knows that we all have those places and those struggles and those darknesses within us. And so yeah, I'm sure there are other difficult things that I've learned in my life, but this definitely seems to be one of the biggest ones, and one that I continue to face just through different relationships. And I don't know, I hope that can shed some light on something that someone else may be experiencing. And if not, thank you for watching anyway. Love you guys.